I remember we had a chat about it where you told me that you got an offer for acquisition for a vibe coding app that you made.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, right? And cold outreach is it's for all intents and purposes, it's kind of dead.
To
They're
me.
not bottle nerds, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you
Wait,
So
what?
like you know how there's sneakerheads? There's like bottle collectors that way.
What?
at least among the whole avocado, whatever India one alpha, like that will happen.
Hmm.
Like दिन में e-commerce site पे चलता है, रात को quick commerce पे चलता है.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yo yo.
What's up?
What's up? Finally, we have a guest, Anmol.
Finally, our surprise is finally here. Several weeks late.
Surprise even for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I am worth it. I This is like pressure to perform right off the bat. This is what
Yeah.
happens. It's like I'm sure this is how Dhoni would feel if he's sent to bat up the order. But
Okay. So, by the way, you are putting this pressure on yourself by comparing yourself to Dhoni. Okay, we did not do that.
धोनी भी मतलब अब is he's not that good only, so it's okay. There's no pressure now.
so I think that goes well with me also being an uncapped player at this point of time. So let's roll with it. Let's try and roll with it. I have Both of us have nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
Shobhit, do you wanna introduce our guest?
correct.
Even though
Yeah.
I think most of our audience probably knows him better than us.
Yeah, I think most of our audience was more was first like Raj's audience than our audience.
Yeah.
So technically, Raj is supposed to introduce us, but we have Raj with us. Raj, I've been following Raj's journey for about 6 years now. I think one of the first time I had a chat with him was 2019 when he was running Nova Semita and he was trying to figure out before autopay had launched, how do I use autopay so that people can pay me.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, that's was and back then I was also building a recurring payment product. So I had a long chat with Raj, what are the problems and all that, and he was like, bro, I just want autopay to work, I don't want a product. And I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I think back in the day we were working with income sharing agreements and so on, which
Yes.
Yeah.
necessitated the fact that we needed like a constant amount to be cut from people's bank account that they're linked. Wouldn't make sense to rely on people to send money because you have to put one person just to call and remind
Yeah.
people and so on. This is 2019, right?
Yeah.
So I think the business probably didn't reach to the point where we had to really chase a lot of people. So I think neither Shobit nor I like ended up
Doing that.
going too far along in our journeys. But yeah, I think autopay has come a long way, right, since then. I remember
Correct.
2017 or 2018 I had made a trip to Bangalore, and back then so subscriptions and UPI subscriptions had just
We're not
entered the
looking.
chat, right? People are just talking about them, but I think the implementation took a long time. Yeah, I think all of us must be on some or the other form of recurring payments on UPI right now. I don't know about Anmol. I
Yeah.
don't know whether uh, you know non
So
Bharatiya.
I
yeah, for
have I have I have 5-6 UPI autopay mandates. What are you saying, sir?
God.
My
for
NRE and NRO accounts still support them.
what is NRE and NRO?
I don't. Basically, if you are non-residential Indian, you can't get a normal account. You have to get
Okay.
an NRE account and an NRO account.
Hmm.
One of it is for income and money earned in India, which is then used in India, and you can deposit INR and transfer INR. The other one you can only deposit in foreign currency, so it's presumably for money you earn abroad that you transfer into that account.
Today
I
I
don't. I
learned.
forget which one is which. I get confused all the time.
But why do you have then earning money account in India? I don't think you've ever earned money in India.
No, but that's the one. Like, if I want to move INR from someone else's account to my account, which I predominantly use, I
Hmm.
use that account. So my parents are
Okay.
sending me money, or
Shobit, I'm not sure whether you're aware or not, but Anmol began his career as a humble milkman in his
yeah,
society. So he too needed to collect money, at one point of
Wait,
time.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not heard that
You
story.
didn't know this? So
No.
in 2016,
Okay.
right after lockdown happened.
Eh?
ये कौन सा?
Oh, sorry,
2016?
demonetization.
Oh, okay.
I've I had the idea to create Milk Basket, or around the time of Milk Basket. So that summer after college, I moved back to India for the summer, and I was delivering milk in my neighborhood and the neighborhood next door. Fully
Wow.
automated digital product. You select your slot, how much milk you want. I would go talk to the Amul distributor in the morning, buy milk from him, package the milk, and then deliver it myself.
I think we have very wildly different definitions of fully automated.
What do you mean?
Like this does not look automated at all.
No, no, for the user it was automated, nah.
Okay. But so is the milkman, dude. Like what's
अरे there's no digital site to go see तुम्हारा subscription में
okay.
कितना दूध
It's
आएगा.
radio on internet. Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I ran it
Okay.
for I ran it for a summer, and then I was like, this is a supply chain problem that I don't want to solve.
Yeah.
So
So this is
bye.
like reverse of Swades.
Yeah.
This guy's like, दूध नहीं बिक रहा है, let me go back to the US.
Yeah, man. Okay, for the uninitiated, Raj, what was Nova Semita? So I know that when you graduated from college, you started something called Nova Semita.
Yeah.
But what was it?
So I think I used to spend a lot of time on Twitter, and as it happens, uh, there was not much of an India startup Twitter or so back in the day. It was probably like what, three of us and some seven other people who could fit into a WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and what happened was that I was tuned into Austin already of back then what is called Lambda School, with a nice thesis kick. College is expensive. Uh, People, there's a gap in the software developer market between demand and supply gap existed, and he used this novel financial uh, sort of model to train people at no fees upfront. You get placed above a certain whatever cutoff. Only then do you start uh, contributing back with a certain percentage of your income, right? The financial instrument was called as an income share agreement. So I was like, okay, makes perfect sense, right? And as a noob, I was like, why can this not exist in India? This the
Mhm.
same problem was rife. I saw my batchmates from bits earning 20 LPA right out of college, whereas friends who were smart, right, who I considered to be of a high caliber, who had a bad day or two during the entrance exam season and landed up in local colleges. It's like, why are these people stuck at 3.5 lakhs per annum jobs? They're pretty much capable of being on the other side as well. So that was the idea, to bridge that gap, and we kind of built a program, right, that connected people to these trained people. There was a lightweight training program, create some proof of work, and then connect them to employers who were looking for such talent. So I think that we ran that for a while. Got intake from all over India. That is our first sojourn with marketing on Facebook, creating a brand, and so on, right? uh, but then ultimately realized that there were problems with adverse selection. These contracts were not really enforceable in India, right? And that the incoming quality was not as high, or not as great as I expected it to be. There were also cash flow problems because you were investing time and money upfront onto people, and then collecting cash hopefully 3-4 years into the future, or whatsoever. And so that meant you either raise equity capital, or find some way to securitize these contracts and so on, which is just way too advanced for India, right? A country where contracts can't be enforced, can't really talk about packaging these contracts and selling them and collecting cash and all that jazz. So it was a interesting, I think, 2 odd years sort of broke onto the scene with that. So that is what I think happened, and a lot of people got jobs, right? Like a bunch of these folks are still, many of them are actually in remote jobs right now, working for US companies and so on. So I'm happy. Uh, I'm happy I could do that. My team could make that happen for these folks. But scaling that is a challenge, a more systemic challenge. I think this can still run on a small boutique sort of a scale, right? But I would probably, if I were to do it again, redo the whole model. Just charge the company, right? Take a fee from the company, which is what, by the way, this Austin Aldridge Lambda school has, after a lot of pivots, landed onto. They're working on this Gauntlet AI thing. I'm not sure that y'all have discussed it before, but the deal, I think, there is simple. Key, they make you jump through a lot of hoops. Put like select people, put them through an online program. Then again run a funnel. The top people who make it past all the challenges get to come offline in Austin, and they're kind of guaranteed jobs that pay over 200K USD, AI engineer jobs, and he charges brokerage on the company side. So he closed the first batch. I think the claim is that everyone got paid over 200K and so on. So it that may be a business model. I don't know again how it'll scale and so on, but makes sense if you're happy with a, as they call it, a lifestyle business or whatsoever. That is at least my take on this training wala, you know dev training business.
Yeah.
So this was similar to how what Relevel was doing with an academy. I don't know if you followed that,
Well,
but Relevel essentially was like an exam that you give, and then you sort of get a score, and then if you like get a good enough score, we you would get sort of placed in a better school, and then there are ways to sort of improve your score.
but did Relevel have like a class kind of thing like Pesto and Scalar
Yes,
and all? Okay,
yes.
so very similar.
Nice. So you did that for 2 years, from
Yeah.
16 to 18, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
17, I think it was 70, I think, yeah, like 17,
You
18 to
said you
almost
visited
20. Yeah,
19.
19, 20, right? I think
Yeah.
we kind of shut down almost around, like, I think, few months before COVID happened. So it was
Yeah.
around that. COVID was in fact like kind of a forcing function. The job market, froze for a brief moment in time before it really bounced
Yeah.
back. Right during the freeze, that's when we were like, okay, we really don't know where things are headed. So we sort of pulled the
Hmm.
plug on that project. Yeah,
Hmm.
but COVID, I
Nice.
think, also
Yeah.
brought in a lot of interesting stories, right? I think all of us are up to some of the other interesting things.
Yeah, I remember during COVID, like you were one of the most active people, at least on Twitter. What I was seeing you told me that you worked with like some district magistrates. You also started STOA at that time. Can you give like a quick rundown of the things that you
Yeah, I
did
think
during
I don't
COVID?
talk about this often because it was a very brief period in time. But again, being on Twitter, that that there's alpha in that, right? Especially when it came to COVID. So from late December to um, late Feb or even into March, I sounded like an idiot to almost everyone around me when I was telling them ki bhai China mein there's something happening, right? There's this virus that's spreading. I guess that's gonna, we really have to be careful. People are like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
talking about? I sounded like those uncles on a WhatsApp group, right? And then I had the best told you so moment of my life come March. That's what happened. But I think Twitter exposed us to a lot of these thinkers who were at the extreme edge of, like asking for lockdowns, asking for zoning, and so on. So I think what we did back in the day was just created a Substack. I think it'll still be up there, right? COVID-19 India, whatever. There'll be a Substack. where we decided to post updates every day around what are the best global practices to follow and so on. And one of the things that we felt was prudent to do back then is like scrape the entire list of emails of all district magistrates in the country, and all IS officers. So like around a email bank of 2000 odd people, uh, f- dumped them into Substack and just ran the newsletter, right? On a daily basis. And of course, you knew who was opening, what is going on, and so on. So we were kind of advocating for this whole red, yellow, green zoning methodology a good 2 weeks before the government actually announced it. Now, I don't think we know enough whether to take any credit or whatnot, because it was an open, protocol. We just wanted to distribute the information into the hands of people, get a conversation started. But as it ended, we got actually replies from 2 3 district magistrates कि भाई क्या है क्या हो रहा है, how can y'all make some sense of all of this for us. So like randomly we were working with a bunch of IPS IAS officers trying to make sense of this COVID scenario, because at that moment everyone
Hmm.
was as much of a headless chicken as the other person, right? There was just way too much information asymmetry. So we worked with a few of them to design some guidelines, make dashboards, and so on. And of course, pro bono. But that got quite a kick during those times, and realized that if you can provide some value, whatnot, you can really bridge the gap and get into anyone's office in a matter of no time. Like for some reason, we became the local experts on COVID. I remember me and another friend, we were on local television talking about COVID and things like that, just because, well, we had some access to Twitter information and so on. So
So local television, you mean like Goa?
yeah, like
Uh,
local Goan television, we were called in often as experts on COVID-19 pandemic outbreak and how to, like whatever, got right up to the government, because no one
Yeah,
had any
I've
idea.
seen you do so many of these, small high agency stuff. Like I remember you had made like a pretty global, I would say. Like there were a bunch of people from different countries in a group for creator economy in like 2020. Um, Even before that, I've always, seen. I've attended like a few of your lectures as well around, let's say, how to cold email or how to, do just basic things which like nobody has really taught. It's something that you learn by yourself, and whenever there's like an element of, okay, this is something that I can learn by myself, I think I've always seen you be one of those people who have sort of learned it really by themselves. For example, vibe coding, right?
Mhm.
I remember we had a chat about it, where you told me that you got an offer for acquisition for a vibe coding app that you made.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, right? And it was like extremely funny because I was like, I put it up like this is a simple itinerary planner, right? And it taught me a lot of things, in fact, that I'd like to share about just AI and how people, how different people are looking and using AI and so on. I recently did my first trip to Thailand, and I wanted to have a good time snorkeling and whatnot. So I designed an itinerary on ChatGPT, and then I realized that it takes a lot of a prompting, and as you know, a lot of AI generations. mm, to get it right, you need that back and forth. A different mental model of the same is key. You need a better form. You need a better intake form to provide context to the model, which generates the output that you need in one shot, right? So I just made a nice form, right? How many people are traveling, who's traveling, family trip, this trip, that trip, what do you want the budget to be, what kind of activities you're looking forward to, are you okay splurging on certain things and saving on certain things, just an extensive form which generated a itinerary, built it all on Replit in a day, put it up on my Instagram, saw that a crazy number of people were using it, and I was getting feedback ki, hey, I'm going to Dubai for Coldplay concert, I want to plan a trip around that, how do I do that using this trip? So created a box to give some open-ended context to the model and so on, so that it became quite a decent tool, which then I put on LinkedIn and then I put on Twitter, got around 1,000 odd itinerary generations. And people gave feedback, right? I want to share this itinerary. So I was amused. In fact, I could just say ki, let people download a PDF or put a share on WhatsApp button, create a unique link for an itinerary, and it could just pull that off, right? And I didn't expect anything to come out of it. Like, I had done my research around affiliate business model, or for, like, can this be a sustainable business in itself? Can you pay for traffic and send them to booking links? I realized it does not really, the economics don't really work out, right? CAC is still greater. So I abandoned the project. A few days later, I got a inbound from this dude who apparently runs 1,000 crore gross booking volume travel agency, saying, "Hey, can I, like, how, like, that his agents are using this to prepare custom itineraries." And I was like, "Okay, this sounds interesting." One thing led to another, and then he wanted the tool to, uh, generate whatever I like, integrate it into his specific workflow. Um, they tried building it apparently, but couldn't. Came back again. The deal did not really go through, as you know, Shobhit, all too well. But what this taught me is that even people who are sitting on that big a, top line, it's probably making what, at least 100 crore in operating revenue and so on. Even people who have capital are finding it hard to sort of navigate what the three of us might, three semi unemployed, whatever, have a lot of time to explore around, right? That's what it looks from the outside world, right? We have a lot of time to spend exploring these tools, like ki, array, O3 came
Yeah.
out, let us try what's possible with O3, 3.7 thinking and 2.5 Gemini Pro thinking, whatnot. We are always on the top of what's going on, but that's not the case with most people out there. And there is this gap right now that exists between what businesses want and what AI can do, and that they don't have the internal capacity to deliver on it, especially if software or tech is not their core, a core part of their business model. And I think technology is only going to run faster. Developments will only, compound from here on, and the gap will more likely than not just grow, right? So this implementation game or business, I think, is going to get interesting, right? Like, this has, I guess, implications for India, don't you think? Like, Shobit, since you run a studio, what are you like, sort of, what are your thoughts on this whole AI, people wanting things done which can be done faster, or using AI?
What I am seeing is people right now are vastly overestimating the potential when they are not the ones driving
Mhm.
it. They will come to me and be like, "We can build, let's say, a social network in 3 days." I'm like, "How?" Then they're like, "Do you should try like some AI tools." I'm like, I am doing that day in day out, but I don't think 3 days or something like that. We are not like at a point where you can compress a year long project into like 3 days, right? Though we can, if you take an year long project from 4 years ago, right now maybe you can do that in 2 months. That's like a more realistic timeline. But yeah, definitely, I think for sure, like AI is giving productivity boost. What I am seeing though is like it's not the people who are complete juniors or completely newbies who are sort of able to use it. Mostly it's mostly been like senior developers kind of people, or uh, somebody like you both, like Anmol sort of also went into vibe coding mania, so to say, that he did a bunch of things. Raj, obviously, you have done a bunch of those things. One thing for sure is that whoever is willing to sort of put up with like crap right now, and they are fine with that crap, and they're fine to fight with that crap, they definitely are getting some edge which is not available for other people right now, for
And
sure.
if you think now the economics of all of this, I used to think, at least, ki, because everyone will be able to do stuff with AI, at least right now, for whatever extent people can. I used to think ki the cost of implementation or finding people to implement stuff is probably going to go down. but I don't really see that happening on the market. Like the market hasn't budged. Maybe you'll get it done faster, but that faster also people are pricing in premium, like the ability to even use AI to get you the desired output uh, is it's being priced in, and the price is not kind of budging. The skill hasn't itself been democratized.
Yeah.
Some people are really just doing much more, right? People are personally much more productive uh, using the same tool. So
Yeah, I think Anmol, what was that paradox?
Javon's,
Jehovah's,
Yeah,
Jehovah's.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that paradox essentially states that when you get a productivity boost, you don't do the same thing. You do more things with the same amount of energy. That's like the core principle around that. I think that is being played out in the market.
yeah, because
makes
just another example, right? Like if you think about this whole ghostwriting jazz, right? Ghostwriting industry, Lelo. We have, I think, good enough models and good enough chains, right? Like workflow chains to pull information. Like you can put a, for example, a chat GPT task to farm news in your industry or whatever, and then chain it to just produce fact checked great LinkedIn posts, whatnot for you. But how many people do we see really putting this to use or using it to their advantage? Leave aside the crap LinkedIn comments that are bot written, right?
yeah.
uh,
But I'd almost say that there's so many people who are like hiring ghostwriting services who maybe were doing a lot of this work manually, but now behind the scenes they're just using AI for a lot of it. And like people aren't writing their LinkedIn posts using AI themselves, but they're just offloading it to the agency and they don't care how the agency really produces
Absolutely
it,
right.
right?
And is the agency charging
No.
less, right? The agencies and the client is also, I don't think, being able to push or like you would expect more people can turn into ghostwriters and start these ghostwriting shops or whatever that is. But it's not really, at least in my eyes, it's not really coming out ki prices of things, services are dropping down or whatnot. So in the end, the person who is sitting on top of the tool and pressing the buttons and pulling the levers is probably pocketing more. Is that what is happening here? Like, is that where the profit is sort of pulling up?
Possibly. I guess is that maybe like a business idea for someone to build like a AI implementations lab for SME India or like small and medium businesses
But
to
dude, I don't know if they pay or not. Like that's the worst idea to sort of.
But I think in general,
outcome based pricing.
Sorry, what?
Outcome based pricing.
I have a gripe with this term.
Okay. What
Should
now?
I go into that rant
yeah,
or
I think
should
because I think
we?
Shobhit, you've worked in this whole billing scene for
Yeah,
a while, right? So I think, yeah, I would want to
yeah.
hear you out on.
So the thing is, outcome based pricing is a thing which will work for sure in sales because the outcomes are very well defined there. Okay, how do you define an outcome in, let's say, a mobile app? Like if you're trying to build a mobile app for somebody, there is no outcome that is there. You can what you can do is you can build something based on the scope, and you can have like a project based pricing which is not really outcome based. Okay, if you want to call that outcome, that's fine. Okay, I get your point. But most of the outcome based pricing things, right, they are, I think those things right now only work with the current metrics we have. It only works on sales, like sales or some sort of like marketing
Some
function.
transaction,
I,
right? That is the only
yeah,
thing.
Some
yeah.
Yeah,
transaction.
You have to attach it to the payment flow. If you can
Correct.
embed in yourself into that transaction flow, then it can work.
Yeah.
If
So
not,
now
then yeah,
if you think about LinkedIn posts,
yeah.
right? It's a power law game. You cannot be like, I mean, majorly it's a power law game. You will have consistently growing followers with each post, but there will be one, so to say, hero post which does all the work. And then there is nobody in the world right now who can say that this is the hero post and just post this and this will go viral and this will go get you 100K followers and whatever. It's just that's just not how it
yeah. I mean,
works.
But
So
uh, Outcome could be number of posts.
And that's then what about quality, right? Like I can generate 100 posts like on loop.
Yeah.
So
To be.
where I think attribution fails, right? Like for
Hmm.
example, for any brand activity, attribution is anyways been a problem, and I think will
Hmm.
continue to be a problem for eternity, right? Like that's just
Yeah.
how things work. But when it
Hmm.
comes to performance marketing or whatever, where as you said, what it's out, it's embedded in the transaction flow. It's essentially a commission, like what our good old
Hmm.
the term for that is a commission, right? Like kitna commission milega sale
Yeah.
karke.
Correct. Correct.
So I think for that transaction it works, but and maybe I think people have had success, I guess, in the customer success, the queries resolved kind of a space. But other than that, I don't really know like where else this kind of fits in. Where else you have those many high volumes of
Hmm.
repeated small tasks that you can,
Hmm.
like close-ended loops that are high volume. Yeah,
I have a great example.
mhm,
It's one of our portfolio companies, TPD0,
mhm,
that does debt collections, and
absolutely.
the entire debt collections ecosystem essentially runs on that rake of how late the loan is, how much you can recover, and then how much you get to keep based on how late that recovery is.
Because
Yeah.
that there I think you have a very measurable number, right? Like it's a very, it's, you can put it on a sheet and talk
Yeah,
about it. But let's say when it comes to recruiting, there's
yeah.
it's a big funnel. In the end you'll probably close one candidate. There are so many actions that have happened to get you to that point, and for all you know the company just yanks the budget last moment. You've done a lot of work, but the company just yanks the budget at the last moment, and then you're like, like a
Hmm.
recruiting firm probably just annoyed that what the hell, like I
Yeah.
put in so much
Yeah.
effort, like retainer lena chahiye tha, right? I should have
Correct.
slapped a
Correct.
retainer on for all the hard work that I am actually doing.
Yeah.
So
Everything that is short term you can probably do outcome based, but any activity that is for the long term, right, there is no outcome based solution, right? Like quitting smoking, there's no outcome there. Helping me quit smoking is, there's no outcome there. Helping me quit canny and then using nicotine pouches, there is no outcome there. It's just like stuff like that. For example, like there is anything that is not like currently just in the short term, there is some sort of a
I,
return. It's very hard. Yeah.
I don't know. I think like you can make a smoking app where every day you, if it detects you smoke, it charges you $1. Is that
Sure.
not outcome
We can
based?
vibe code that, I guess. Yeah. Put all the sensors automatically. AI is there. You don't need
No, no, you
sensors.
don't even need sensors. You just like link it to account aggregator. If it checks that you made a 20 rupee transaction that day, it charges you an extra UPI auto pay mandate of 100 rupees that day.
भैया मैंने तो किसी और के लिए खरीदा था.
I mean,
you know
creative people can get, right. Again, it's not a
Yeah, yeah,
closed loop because
Yeah, I know, I know.
there are 100 ways of sort of going past that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think
So
what problems, like what novel problems can you even solve with this technology and this business model, whatnot? Like I think we've not we, the promised land looks pretty, but I don't think we've had like more than 10 plus examples of pockets of success of business models being overturned, whatnot, right? So
hmm.
I mean, there is a lot of buzz around Array Saska, bye bye SAS, all of that jazz, but the same lethargy. I recently visited a friend's company to just talk about brand and things like that, just to help them out. And I realized that everyone in the team already has enough work, whatnot, right? They any net new work that is there, like let's say I want to spin up a campaign calling some thousand people, right? They will probably throw some vendor will come in and say, oh, we can try AI to call people. They'll be happy with that. But at the same time, if the work that is existing, if you tell people ki why don't you use AI here, whatnot, there is a lot of backlash. I saw the design team and the developers, obsessing over "Arey button ka spacing, button ka color, whatnot," and I'm like, wait, is this even a problem in 2025? Can't you use some, I don't know, UI UX pilot or some other, design AI tool to just give you a good enough mock up, given that you have so much of work already in place, right? Why do you need like three people spending 2 hours talking about some random stuff? But companies that are already big, they have those insane coordination costs among those people. There is inertia, lethargy. People have their own incentives to not document their work so that they don't get fired. All kinds of things, right? Which probably is the reason why SaaS will like still hang around, because it's plugged in, right? It's not going to get ripped and replaced. Just, I think, not because things are not technically feasible, but just because of that human drag and inertia and resistance to change, and wanting to grease
So
your
That's
I
own
why
think
palms.
that
that's why we need Elon and Doge in every single company to rip
I
out
think
SaaS.
more than Elon doors and stuff like that, the way this will work is new companies will be more efficient,
Yeah.
and they will just run past the incumbents. Hopefully, that's the promised land, in
That's
my
always
opinion.
that's always the promised land, that the next set of incumbents are going to be better than the legacy companies
But
until
that
they
has
become.
always been the case, no?
Yeah,
Would you
but then
not
they
agree?
eventually become the legacy companies, huh?
Huh, so then there is another new
Yeah,
set of
yeah,
incumbents, and that's why there's always a startup boom.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
So I do agree, like building companies using AI or whatever that is in industries that are already existing. In fact, so another mental model thesis that I have around what's happening with AI is either you build a great company that just specializes in AI for a particular industry or particular job, or you go to the other extreme, go to the physical world where AI is nothing more than a supporting function. But you really build something solid, some solid infra in the physical world, like some value chain that you really vertically integrate, the usual jazz. Anything that is digital but not AI, like probably it's a bad idea to start right now. Any digital product that is not AI, bad idea to start right now. But it's okay to be an implementations, you know agency to someone who's running something that's cloaked in compliance or the physical world, because those businesses are not going to, like a real estate broker is still going to be around, right? They're not going to get washed out. But a digital marketing agency which purely is just running around with ads, whatnot, maybe they'll be having a field day for the next few years, but then over a 10-year horizon, someone's going to throw in an whatever, a crazy agent that just optimizes your whole entire digital marketing stack out for you. So 10 years later, I wouldn't be bullish on digital marketing agencies holding up. But again, like that being said, I think people like, we people who are running businesses right now, like the promoters, founders, jo bhi ho, the managers, right? People who have capital to allocate, they don't seem to be in any mood to take some time off and think like about AI and how they can use AI from ground up. So they will still be like, here, take the money, just give me the outcome. I mean output, or whatever that is, right? Just, I don't want to use this tool or configure it myself to.
No, but though there is some level of truth to that, and it will remain that way for a bit as well. And I'll give you an example. For example, my wife is building pickleball
Hmm.
courts. Literally, she starts her day at about 8:30 a.m. Okay, and till 11 she's still there, and there's a bunch of reasons. Like initially, in the first half, there's like construction and stuff going on, and then second half there's like people coming in, and then we're trying to figure out a bunch of things there. She was like, she wanted to build a web app, and I was like, okay, why don't you try vibe coding? And I got the lecture of my life, because like she's like, do you not see me? Like, there's no time. And even if there is time, it's better utilized for me to do other things versus fighting with an AI that doesn't even listen to me, right? And maybe 10 years down the line, we might be able to come to a point where you can one shot a lot of apps, right? Maybe at that time SaaS is really dead, but even then, like right now, she has to host the web app. Even if she makes it, make sure that it's maintained properly, in the sense that there's no data leak, there's nothing like that. It's the uptime is good, like not that NPCI shit, right? 999. So, and because a lot of business depends on that web app, like it's a play open play sort of kind of a thing where people just book a slot rather than a whole court. She's like, I don't want to do that. It is too much on the line for it, for me to not have somebody to shout at and get it fixed with. And I think that thing is not changing for any of the people unless rethink they have the time to rethink everything from scratch. And then I don't know, man. I haven't bought the thinking that people will be able to vibe code their own apps for their needs when they are not even sure what they want. Like when I had a chat with any of my non-technical clients, their brief is so bad. We literally spend a week to just get from them what do they mean by yaar ye chahiye,
And
right?
that's
What
thankless work, right?
that's thankless work. We don't get paid for it. Like we spend our time. I have to pay salaries for that time, but I don't get paid for it. And even after figuring all those things out, they can be like, "Oh, you're expensive. I don't want to do it with you." Right? I mean, that's just the scenario. And maybe they go and talk to the AI and figure these things out. Hopefully, that's my dream. But
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
so the thing with AI is also that it doesn't have a real sense of costs. I mean, this is probably something worth vibe coding is a brief bot, right? Which has a real
Brief
sense
word.
of
Yeah.
resource constraints and allocation constraints,
Yeah.
which pushes back. That's essentially the job here. If a I mean, in an ideal world, a client would want like a multi-planetary civilization built out for 5 rupees if they could, right? But
One
1
rupee.
rupee, sorry, right? But but that's not possible because constraints are real, and what a Shobhit does is probably pushes back at every moment, saying, "Ki, boss, this will take me 5 more, weeks to build, and it'll cost you this much." Then the other person like, ah, okay, I don't really need it, ऐसे ही डाला था. And then you really shave it down, and they're still unsatisfied, but you at least arrive at something that they're willing to pay for or whatever. So
So, Raj,
hmm.
what if, let's say, Anmol was not into the finance industry that he is in, also called the
I
VC?
think finance is a it's not super
It's
accurate
no,
term.
it is very accurate. Please,
What
if
finance work do I do? I don't do any finance work.
he's a developer, right? Like, what can he do sitting from India with all the AI that is available? He has Anmol can speak English. Anmol can write code. Anmol can
Anmol has
vibe
the
code.
vibe code, Anmol's high agency, all the
I,
buzzwords
I I
with
think the
Sri.
bottleneck still comes to for someone sitting in India. What I've realized, the bottleneck still comes to building trust with someone with the dollars, right? I don't think AI is going to solve for it. Like, sure, you can put on an accent translation AI to sound a little more, I don't know, like Texan Vexan,
Hmm.
but even getting on that call
Yeah.
Hmm.
is no joke, right? Most of the
and
business.
and and that's probably gonna get exacerbated with things becoming easier to do, because then people are gonna start putting more emphasis on trust with their network or their small group of people.
Yeah, but I think so. As we, I think, just realized in the last 10 odd minutes is that this things getting easier to do is not a very, like straightforward. The implications of that are not very straightforward. Ki, because things will get easier to do, then this will happen and that will happen. It still looks like it's highly dependent on who you are, how you'll be able to take advantage of things getting easier to do. Whether someone else will take advantage of you or you will take advantage of the technology is still a unknown, and I don't know
Hmm.
how much of technological progress can bridge that gap. Like, how good can AI really get? But even then, I think you will need, wait, as you said, the gulf will only deepen out, right? Like right now, if I'm sitting out of India, most cases you have a partner who's sitting in, I don't know, Middle East or Europe, or could be the US, who is bringing in the business, right? And then you're just a delivery, sort of offshore delivery team, that the manager of the team or the partner in the business is getting paid a lot, yeah, whatnot. But how do you sit here only and generate business? That is
Hmm.
not, I think, trivial, right? That I think is the biggest question on my head. Like, we're building trust. Nothing beats actually blowing those few lakhs on buying a ticket and going to some conference or hanging around some place where business owners come and your value prop makes sense to them, and you at least start getting that initial round of referrals sort of kicking in. Getting till there is still, I think, the hard part, even if you're running a good
And
old dev shop, right?
and even if you, let's say, get a ticket to a conference and you're there, I don't know about Anmol, but me, I can't for the life of me talk to random people. Schmooze with them, figure out. So what's the strategy?
I honestly get a co-founder who's comfortable with doing that, but then, like, whoever brings in the sales, is the king at the end of the day. So
Hmm.
you either become the king or sort of you know step aside and accept someone else as being the king. I think that is what it comes to. So selling I don't know whether selling has gotten easier, but clearly people right since the time of Infosys have been doing it. Right, people have been
Yeah.
pulling that off. There are enough people whose houses are running based on that sort of GTM chakkar. Maybe having this YouTube channel or some previous, you associated with some unicorn or fundraise, that helps. But still, like a cold outreach is, it's for all intents and purposes, it's kind of dead. I've seen
It's dead.
dead as in it's probably not going to give you the returns unless you run some crazy volumes, and most people give up before they hit those volumes. But what I've seen work is hanging out in communities. Let's say you're doing something in the GTM space. I would go to clay.com, unka Slack, and just squat there, be a little helpful to a bunch of people, wait for someone to post ki, hey guys, I have this problem, how do I go about it? Pounce on that, offer ki some free consultation ki I'll help you get started, whatever the case is. So that's probably as good as it gets, like finding pockets of where you can deliver value to someone who's like at the door for help, right? Catching them when there's a trigger, or when the iron, like striking the iron when it's hot or whatever, all of that. That I think is critical, finding people when they're the most pained. The
Hmm.
problem with cold outbound, like pure cold without using any intent or signals or whatnot, is key. Most people are not even in the buying sort of, they're not out shopping, right, for a solution. They're
Hmm.
not looking to buy. So
Hmm.
building trust when they have some pain before they're actually looking out to buy and asking their friends ki kisse lu, I think that is kind of critical, and that happens in these Slack channels and stuff like that, I feel. So if you can't,
And
huh,
I've seen you execute something very well, which was cold emailing, cold outbound, whatever, for building relationships.
yeah, I think you sort of build those even before you need to encash them, right? You just do it
Hmm.
because you feel like helping someone or being thoda selfless. When you really need help, if you wake up then and start knocking doors, I think वहाँ पे problem होना
Hmm.
चालू होता है. Another very
Hmm.
interesting thing, I think, Anmol, that someone once mentioned to me, you would probably resonate with this, is that Indians are transactional, where Americans or the Western world, look at it in a more relationship based way. And we are more relationship based, where people look at things in a transactional sort of fashion. So the example that I was cited is key: when we get on a call with a client or with a prospect, we will jump into business right at the get go. Ki, ha, what is your problem, sir? How can I solve it? There's no, we discount small talk a lot, right? Like the initial 5 odd minutes where you're just like bantering about the weather, shadar, whatever. We think it's like ye kisko karna hai? It's a waste of time, right? We jump into business directly, and this happened. I saw this, like we were hosting this dinner with agency CFOs in New York, like last October or so, and mostly Indian folks. Like there was this agency chap who came in and he was like, "So how's it coming along?" This dude I know just directly started talking about, "Oh, the trip has been good. I met so many people. Yeah, but we're still wondering about like our PMF and this and that." And the guy was like, "Dude, I'm not here to talk, business. Let's leave that out of the door. How's New York been?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
so that,
No, I think most people treat those kind of events as like just building the relationships and not talking about work at all.
Right. And this the flip side is ki, let's say if I build something or my friend has built something, I will expect it for free. कि अरे दोस्त ने बनाया तो मुझे तो can you give me access, can you एक free sample भेज दो, what not. Whereas in the West I'm assuming that the default attitude is कि here take my $10, I want to support you, right? So they're transactional where we really want to play the relationship card, and vice versa. So these are some cultural sort of nuances, differences, just breaking the ice. I think like every Indian needs like a master class or whatever that is in
Yeah.
breaking the ice.
But I'd also say that I think like within companies, like people in India are great at breaking that. Like, I mean, the one thing about working in or like seeing how Indian companies operate always shocks me is like how many chai sutta breaks people take. And like you're not talking about work when you're going on a chai sutta break. That's just like gup. But it's like you can do that internally so well, and you aren't always able to extract it externally when it comes to selling in the US. Like even when someone's trying to sell to Indian businesses, you will take them out to lunch or take them out to chai or that. But when it comes to kind of the Western world, I don't know, like if we just freeze or like
Yeah, I
we
think
don't.
there is some
Yeah,
hangover there, colonial, whatever you call it, bit of a I think people don't approach it as coming from like a conversation between two equals. And I think that when you approach it only, approaches itself a little uh, dealer, like you're already discounting yourself in that conversation, then well, what
yeah,
happens next is natural, right? You've already written your destiny,
self out.
right? And you've written yourself out, right? So I think that it's a question of, like, again, Anmol, when you said people inside companies are, they know how to keep the conversation going. We are good at it once the context is set, right? Once the setting is ready, but doing it cold, वहाँ पे थोड़ी I think फट फट जाती है. And people think for some reason they need to talk about some NFL and basketball and things like that, which it helps probably, but just it doesn't have to be
To
that
yeah, yeah.
intense. You could just really share stuff about where you come from, and I
Okay,
think
so you guys tell me, give me an example email I can send
No, no, this
to.
doesn't work on. I don't think it'll work on email. Like
Oh,
you got like that kind of context building. You like I guess have to do in person.
I think you can do it on email, right? So my point, like, can do it, but again, whatever. As you
It's
said,
just
it's
hard.
harder.
Yeah.
But instead of, like, if you want to generate a conversation with Elon Musk, instead of asking him about, like, hey, what insight are you getting on Twitter, like asking a business question, he'll probably reply back if you ask him what brand of toothpaste he uses. I think you have a higher chance of getting a response from him and building a relationship with that as a entry question than trying to be like a simp and
Yeah. Yeah.
asking him, sir, like, what is the
yeah,
SpaceX something
right.
strategy, or no, because
Sir,
people are tired of those, thinking of that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है क्या सर?
You'll probably get a better chance of a response on that front, right? Because if
Yeah.
you see, like, someone had pointed out ki Karpati has these videos on how he uses AI or whatnot, right?
Hmm.
I think this was Manas who had pointed this out. Ki even Karpati is searching what toothpaste does Brian Johnson use. Like, that was one of the queries that he saw somewhere. These are things like that most of us actually think about. Kare, what's a good place to have dinner in your neighborhood or whatnot. That is hit strike it at a more human level as compared to trying to impress someone at some business, you know
Hmm. Yep.
business level. If you there's this reel, right, that went about recently, this Ishan Sharma asking Jensen Wang ki, what advice would you give someone, and he was like, work hard. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is also why sins work as a great icebreaker. Like, oh, let's go have a beer. Let's go have a smoke. because then
Hmm.
it's not about impressing someone or trying to sell someone. You're just trying to,
Have fun.
Have
yeah,
fun, yeah. Like I mean, everyone wants to have fun.
yeah,
Sale
Correct.
to sabko karna hai. Everyone knows they have to sell, they have to buy, right? Like
Yeah.
that'll get done. But if you just
Hmm.
show up at the door asking for that, then I think it's get things get a little
Yeah.
tough. That
So I think my plan of action now is I want to visit people in US. I'm going to send them an email and ask for, like, can we go for a water slide or something? Maybe that will work.
no, a walk,
of
A
walk.
walk. Uh,
or yeah, something like yeah, I think if you ask them for the address so that you can send them some Indian food, send them some laddus probably or petha, I don't know, something they've never heard of, right? That probably would work better than get my
got
point. Like trying a very standard approach, so to say.
Hmm.
So, why yeah, the alpha probably is there in some kind of novelty. People are bored of the. Are you looking to increase your sales this quarter? Of course I am. Like everyone is. Uh,
Yeah, I think for a message like, "Are you looking to improve your sales?" You need to have some sort of context set earlier that you actually can deliver that result to that person. That is why they will listen to you.
and if you're really good enough, they would have already heard about you before from someone,
Yeah,
or
Yeah,
they'll come to you through their network, right? So
I think
वो warm outbound, yeah, whatever people call it, that's
correct.
what ends up working, and that's a grind.
Hmm.
yeah, but I think even the way to approach that is almost like you just drop into the city to build a network there and let that serendipity lead you to the promised land, instead of trying to chase clients. Like, go to San Francisco and talk to every single person you meet.
Hmm.
You are bound to meet a founder within the first 20 conversations.
So that's in fact, I think when we went there, that's kind of what we also did. One is you hit up. First thing you need to do in every city is swallow your ego and like go to some 4 5 events that are listed on Luma,
No, no. First
right?
is you hit up your college network
हाँ
and
Yeah.
वो तो है
yeah.
ही, but I'm
Yeah.
saying
Bits Silicon Valley Alumni
that I think, I
Association.
mean, that I think you will probably end up doing anyway. But like even with that, you'll quickly realize that those people have not networked enough for you to like get much
Correct.
extract. They'll tell you khana yahan pe milega and this that, but it's hard to you have a lot of people who are
Yeah.
working in Fang. They're whatever chilling there. They won't tell you ki
Yeah.
bhai yahan pe must startup what up whatever, like founders hang out here. People are pretty much locked out of that, right? Because they are not on the right
Hmm.
visa, all that jazz. But
Yeah.
I would say, and this is advice for like I think even in India, right? Like hit up the three nice looking events on Luma. You will meet all kinds of random people. Like on my last trip, what I did was I registered for this event at Zoom ka HQ in San Jose, primarily because I wanted to meet the founders of one of our like API vendors. So I wanted to meet their co-founders. They were talking at this one Zoom conference. So I just showed up at the conference and then you know like ambushed them and said, hey, my team's been bugging you on Slack. Went to the Zoom people, said, bhai apna thoda kuch approve kar do, approvals are
Ah.
pending, whatnot. And of course 90% of the crowd is probably not going to be relevant to you. They just come there for free food, right? And they don't know what to do that night. They've shown up there, but you get a gauge of who's worth talking to. Hit up that the founders who are there to give the talk, speakers, whatnot, and then work your way up, right? Like those events are pretty useless if you're a serious
Hmm.
operator, but it's a good way to
Hmm.
calibrate and figure out what's the bar, like what
It's good for beginner
it's a good starting point.
st- starting
It's
point.
a
Yeah.
good starting point to work your way up. If you have 15
Hmm.
20 odd days to spend in a city, that is how I would sort of do it physically. I think, yeah, just like do enough LinkedIn outbound. What is important, I've realized, is to also have that time boundedness key. I'm here for 3 days. If you say I am here, catch up for coffee, this that, it won't happen. But some FOMO ki I'm here for the next 2 days, 3 days in your city. Can we chat? Can we
Hmm.
talk? That converts sort of that FOMO converts a little harder.
Tell me one thing, Raj, or even Anmol, you. If people hit you up with like, "Hey, I would love to pick your brains, get coffee with you. I'm in town, whatever." How often do you entertain those, or do you? Is it like you never entertain those? You entertain only if you know the person via somebody, or for cold outreach. How often do you sort of entertain those?
If it's like someone on Twitter
Hmm.
and they have an interesting Twitter profile and the outbound isn't just like really standardized and lame,
Hmm.
I'm more inclined to do it.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if someone is introducing me, I'm much more inclined to do it.
Hmm.
But if it's on LinkedIn and if it's something very like bland, then I'm always
Out of it.
like, "Hi, would love to catch up." And I'm just like, I don't know what you're like, what value it is in for me to catch up with you.
So I think for me, with two parameters, right? One is this person. The person either has to have some like potential, that is like some high slope. I can see that they'll do some crazy stuff in the next
Hmm.
4 5 years. You can see initial glimpses of that. Then it makes
Hmm.
a lot of sense to take that conversation, help them. The other is, of course, if the person is already at a high sort of stature or okad or whatever you may call it, right? Then it makes just its natural sense. And third is
Hmm.
ki as Anmol said, ki intro. Like someone introduces me to someone else, more often than not, I oblige, irrespective,
Hmm.
because I want to maintain my relationship with the whatever, and like the
Hmm.
middle party who is making
Hmm.
that intro. And I think over the years, I think people in India have gotten a little more sensitive about introducing the right people. I think pehle people would just like would make
Yeah.
intros left, right, and center. But वो social capital का थोड़ा I think sense has now started to kick in, and people don't casually introduce you to whatever.
Hmm.
If people ask me, कि, hey, introduce me to this VC that whatnot, I will not do it blindly, right? To burn my
Hmm.
own social capital, because everyone's judging you on
Hmm.
either side, right? Ki,
Yeah.
does this person have, like if you send a bad intro to someone, they'll probably not
Hmm.
even talk to you, right? After a while.
Yeah.
So,
It gets very awkward. Did you meet that
No,
guy?
I think like one bad intro is okay. I think it's like if you send a string of bad intros, then
Yeah.
that's when you
but
start getting
even one
demoted.
bad intro would make you question ki bhai, what did you even talk to this person, like dimag hai kya, like jagah pe you wasted your time, now you're wasting my time, that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Makes sense. Raj, you also said you had like a couple of business ideas.
give
We're
away,
very keen
right?
on those things. Yeah, we're very keen on those.
Yeah, I think every time I state this one idea, people are like, why do you not do it yourself then? But the
Hmm.
idea that I hope someone out there does ASAP is build the Mokobara of bottles in India, right? I think each one of us at least has,
Wait, 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 wait,
yeah,
wait, wait, wait. What is Mokobara of what else?
bottles.
You know, water bottles,
Bottles.
But so you
Stanley
want
Cup.
what? You want like water that don't break?
No, like I think nice looking, premiumized.
Saratoga?
Saratoga
Nay,
is probably
nay,
a
more like Stanley Cup
ha.
ish.
So, for example, right, this is my desk bottle, right?
Hmm.
Like desk pay, I spend a lot of time with my desk, so I need like a bigger bottle, all of that.
Hmm.
This is a Mr. DIY bottle, of course, made in
Okay.
China. Where else, right?
Hmm.
And it's a foreign company, right? Like which
Hmm.
Malaysian company, Mr. DIY.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
say. So I have a desk bottle, I have a gym bottle, I have a, I'm going out somewhere, bag mein fit hone wali bottle. There is probably a bedside bottle that I have.
Uh,
All of us have 4 5 different, I'm assuming, different bottles for different.
I don't know. I have zero
I have
bottles.
I
Yeah.
have one
See,
kind of bottle that I have like 20 bottles of the same kind.
I like microplastic, so I just drink straight out of the Bisleri
Like
bottle.
this is the kind of bottle I'm talking
right, so
about.
this is what I call tab, right? Like it's a category that you can really brand and do a
Yeah.
good job at, because I think, yeah, like we usually buy a Seloka water bottle, or you go to a Decathlon and buy, pick some
Hmm.
bottle, 99 rupee, 1000
Yeah.
rupee, whatever bottle
Cello.
seller, right?
Yeah.
Like you pick up bottles from there, just like we used to pick American Tourister Samsonite या कुछ Safari Wafari VIP bag. We would not think a lot about the bag that we sort of picked, and then suddenly it became that airport aesthetic. Everyone was like, "Ooh," like
Hmm.
Mokobara, or whatever. People were trying to flex with the bags. Women are already carrying their Stanley or Stanley knockoffs, right?
Yeah.
That's a specific class. In the US, I think, for example, you have something like a Yeti, which is, again, it's an outdoor, generally outdoor brand. But if I'm not mistaken, they do $4 billion in revenue, or is that their market cap?
Yeah. I think Anmol, you had mentioned this once, right?
Yeah,
Yeti.
I don't know how much they do, but I think they also sell more coolers
Coolers, yeah,
than bottle.
bottles.
What, like
It's a
cooler
very
like that?
No,
it's like a small
ice
box to
box.
carry drinks. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's like amongst like outdoors fraternity culture,
Uh,
beach culture.
got it.
It's like
Goa.
a high end drink basket or drink.
It keeps your
Got
beers
Uh,
it.
cool, or things like that. There are way outdoor this, but bottles is again one of their lines. I got
Yeah.
one. It's pretty sturdy, way insulated thermos, basically, kind of a thing, right?
Insulated wins.
But it works. It works. It's pretty. You can probably hit it on someone's head, and
yeah,
nothing will happen to the
kill them.
bottle. Person will die, like that
Okay.
grade of a
Okay.
bottle, right? There is a branded culture it's already happened in the West. I think it's ripe for disruption in India, because, again, as I said, you can convince people that you need different bottles for different use cases, and
Hmm.
people, if they've invested in one, they will make it a point to you know shove it in your
Yeah.
face. I've seen two or three brands sort of come up, but I don't think they're doing a great job. I don't want to name them. I
Yeah,
get
I mean, like it's Solara. Like, I mean, that's the one I've
Solara
seen
is
on.
out there. There's this brand called Headway that I've
Okay,
seen some people use.
but
And I
yeah,
asked people, now, how did you buy this? They were like, I bought the coffee sipper
yeah,
first. Then I saw someone with
yeah,
this bottle. So you either see it on ads and buy it, or you see someone else using it, and then you're like, hey, this is nice. Can
yeah,
I get it
yeah.
too? So that virality is there, because it's a very, in your whatever.
Yeah, but like Solara brand doesn't scream like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to buy it."
Yeah, they're
At
not
least to
they're
me.
not bottle nerds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you
Wait,
So
what?
like you know how there's sneakerheads? There's like bottle collectors that way.
so
What?
I'll tell you the beauty. Uh, yeah,
Wait.
go on.
Really?
Yeah, stop being such a boomer, Shobhit.
Yeah.
Bro,
Get with the
So
program.
I'll put it this way. So a friend came with a Yeti. That's how I got introduced, like, to seeing a Yeti, like in India, right? First time, and she's trying to explain to me that, what, I can put four different attachments. So the head of the bottle is standard, right? So it's very modular. You can buy three, four different kinds of sippers for the top. That's the one which the thing flicks on top. One you can open up. Four different types, right, of sippers. Then there are five different sizes of the bottle with the same head in seven different colors, right? For different use cases and so on. So I was like, "ये तो पूरा ecosystem है," right? It's like the Crocs thing, wherein people have accessories, and I think you've seen that at Stanley as well, where
Yeah, you have like these. So initially you used to have these bag charms that you can put on bags, like a little like trinket on your bag. Now you have like water bottle charms, so you can like decorate your Stanley and make it personalized even more. And
so
like,
got
this
it.
does look very frivolous, and so on. But I think everyone has a water bottle. They probably can have four or five even, if you sell it right and sell it well to them. There is a scope room for education. Ki you use this for that. Plastic mat use karo. Microplastics is anyways. It's trending, right? Like it'll be a trend for the next 5-10 years at least. Everyone's gonna move towards glass or metal, things like that.
In India, do you think that?
At least among the whole avocado, whatever, India one alpha, like that will happen. right? Come on, that those are the uses of a Mokobara. You walk
Yeah.
into any
Yeah,
Bangalore
got
No,
it.
office.
I think Mokobara has broken the India one paradigm into India two.
Yeah.
I will say that. I think
No, I think anything that works in like high status people will obviously trickle down. People will want that thing.
as long
Makes
as you
sense.
can afford it.
As long as obviously,
Yeah.
or they can take a loan.
By the way,
Buy now, pay later.
another interesting statistic is that 50% of air flyers in India on any given day are first time flyers or something like that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Whenever I go back to Jaipur, I see them and like they are also like perplexed. Ki,
ये
what do
ये
I
कौन सा
do? Am
रेलवे
I?
स्टेशन है?
Yeah, I mean, no, they are always they're like they're like sweating a lot that something doesn't go wrong, and when the hostess tells them to shut off their phone, they are like the first ones to do it, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
ठीक है."
yeah.
So yeah, but so I just googled. There's like the India plastic bottle market is 1.31 billion. It's growing at 2% CAGR. So it's not like the thing is growing right now, but you're saying that the opportunity right now is that these people, the cello people, they are pretty
It's a
Like,
basic.
commodity, right? Yeah, so you
yeah.
Yeah,
can,
it's not Instagrammable,
yeah,
for
yeah,
Yeah.
example.
it's, you can build a nice brand around it. Maybe the
Hmm.
bigger market is, if you see the India luggage market, that Kunal Shah insight ki most suitcases in India are bought for wedding whatnot. That may be
Hmm.
the case for mass India, but there's still which 100 crore,
Yeah,
200 crore business you'll still be able
you can make.
to, I think pull
Yeah,
off if
makes
you
sense.
just,
What's the GTM like here?
I
What do
think
you
it's
think?
it's
Quick
with
commerce. Ins-
Instagram, right?
Instagram influencers, micro influencers. You find the like. Did you see that girl who went viral for the Mew Mew stuff? You don't. Yeah, so
What's
too
Mew
old
Mew?
for that. There's this girl in Bombay who's like, oh, like I'm wearing all these like American brands, and this
Oh
is my
yeah, I saw
road.
that. I saw that. We
Yeah,
had
so
a
you like,
chat. Yeah.
yeah, we collab with like folks like her to
Uh,
like make it a trend and set the trend,
hmm.
and then all these like mommy influencers or like cottage core influencers and
You can just
Yeah.
basically say कि चलो अच्छी, right? Like you can
yeah,
ये क्या
Celochi.
like ये this is poor people bottle, whatever. You can just
yeah,
spread that
Uh,
sort of a,
Manisha
yeah.
Baker. It's so middle
Correct.
yeah,
class.
it's
Yeah,
so,
Celo क्यों सहे?
yeah, like it's so middle class, and people will be like, yeah, you're right. Actually,
Yeah.
this is not.
This is so middle
This is
class.
It's Sajid Pai endorsed water bottle for India One.
Yeah. We work में डालना
like,
पड़ेगा
oh,
and
oh,
all those things. But yeah.
Frido approved water bottle. Like
Yeah,
some founder, like
it helps with your it helps with your posture.
yeah.
I think you need to put somewhere erectile dysfunction there and just watch it boom.
No, but you need a perfect ad. It'll be like getting a shout out from a founder that got shout out from the Fridoka founder. Right, and putting a screenshot of that on like Instagram. I really don't get how those ads, like people are like
I don't.
how
Uh,
the
you see that?
Wait, did they work?
No, so no, of course not. But like I've seen like
Huh.
companies who like use like Ganesh liking the product as a way to promote their product.
Oh, I
on
did not know
Instagram,
that.
who has no
Or
idea
yeah,
about,
On Instagram.
actually Instagram
Wow.
people know about Frido, right? So maybe it's like
But do they know the founder of Fredo or do they just
they
know
know
Fredo?
Frido for sure.
Okay. Yeah, for example, I know Chroma, but I don't know who is the founder. Tata, but still, I mean,
you don't know Ratan Tata.
he's not the founder, dude. But yeah, I get it. Like, I don't know the current CEO. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
So those people have been trying those ads, like very Twitter specific ad. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's a category, it's very visual. I think someone
Yeah,
will end up building a nice business out of it, as long as you get these cultural sort of levers
got it.
right. So which
Yeah,
brings me to the question, why am I not doing it or whatnot? I mean, I don't know. TAM is small,
yeah.
bro.
I
Uh,
guess like the other question, like, can you manufacture any of this in India, or is this just like China drop
Yeah, yeah,
shipping?
this is very easy for India. This is
Yeah.
not a so anything that does not require precision manufacturing. you can definitely pull off in India.
No, but
Source my dad.
is it still worth pulling this off in India, or is China still like 100 times cheaper to do it?
Not 100 times, but you'll get like maybe some arbitrage.
In
But
fact,
I mean,
this right now might be the best time to bulk,
Yeah,
like buy some
buy.
inventory which is not getting liquidated, whatnot,
used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
from
was
China.
talking to one of our we invested in this company Slick that does
Mhm.
fast fashion, like a marketplace, and they were telling me how like there's all these like apparel manufacturers in China that are kind of like offloading stuff they can't sell to the US for like 40-50% off because like they just don't have anyone to buy all this stock in inventory.
I think
So
India is gonna get like really dank in the next 12 months. Like suddenly we'll see people, with things, doing things that you never imagined will be sold or bought in India. But it looks like it might just like a heist might just happen. We might be at
yeah.
the.
But I mean like do you think there's enough people like looking at this and like smartly like jumping on the next like flight to Shenzhen to like figure out the suppliers and buy a ship
This year
stuff?
around, I've heard of more of a buzz around the whole Canton Fair than before.
Okay.
I've heard of a lot of people planning. It's happening, I think, around now, right? Sometime.
Yeah.
More
One of
people,
my client
yeah,
is
more
there.
people than I would imagine have gone for the Canton Fair. In fact, someone posted na ki a reel of veg food in Canton Fair. So that's when
It's a
you know,
bubble.
yeah,
It's a bubble.
that's when you know we've arrived. Ki people are like selling Gujju food in Canton Fair and all that jazz.
Oh god.
Oh
Food
man.
reaches before we do, right? So
Yeah.
maybe something will happen by the end of the year. But I think why we do we have enough good brand marketeers who can not like create that uh, need
I
for
believe so. I
consumption.
mean, there are for sure like at least the new age, that new generation that's coming up, they are much more uh, you know in
Cool.
that cool. Yeah,
Cool.
they're much more cool.
I look at my Muse reels and just like my
Yeah,
Hmm.
Muse Instagram is one of my favorite
for
Instagram
sure.
Hmm.
account just because of how
Sex.
crazy they are,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, every day I'm like, how can you get away with having this conversation on an brand Instagram in India, right?
Uh,
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't imagine that someone can have
correct.
these conversations, not have like 100 people in the comments going like, "Hey,
Uh,
what are you selling? What are
who-
you talking
Gen
about?"
Z, Gen Z is woke. We're
Yeah, but
not afraid to talk
we
about
need a
sex anymore.
betting market whether around like if my Muse is gonna get like mass media cancelled in the next 18 months, right?
why
I don't.
will they be?
I don't
Why
know.
will
I
they
I
be?
don't
have
know.
no idea, dude. Like at this point of time, anything that is a can be made a bakra. Like if you're too big, like you know how India works. तो कोई एक दिन बकरा बना देगा कि अश्लील stuff is being sold खुलेआम and some I don't know.
I think, but that would be happening anyway right now. There will be like a universe of Instagram or Facebook where it's being said that what the current generation is doing, and then that's just been
But
happening
it
since
all it
forever.
takes is one lull day in the news cycle and someone be like आज इनको चढ़ाते हैं like इनको brand
Ranveer Alabadia
हाँ
types.
तो I am wondering whether that will happen to these folks because I honestly like the bold like approach that they have, and I
Hmm.
hope they're allowed to
But even
continue
this
expressing.
bold care also has in the same market, right? Like they are also.
So bold care talks about like they're still very medical adjacent, right? They'll still talk about use protection, yeah, whatever. These or the ED erectile dysfunction, that kind of stuff. These people are outright like orgasms, yo, right? So that's
Charam Sukh.
yeah, that's
Hey, orgasms are just as important as erectile
they
dysfunction, I'd say.
are. But does Arnab Goswami think that is the question, right? Like that's what I'm wondering, like whether people will come and accept
Fair
that.
enough.
So
We We have a energy drink brand called Ecstasy, and I think their Instagram is also very interesting. You should check them out.
I'm gonna do
Nice.
that, but full respect for Gen Z folks to be actually, like pushing
Pushing.
it. And I mean, I don't think a millennial sort of social media team would be able to crack this the way Gen Z has been able to do it. So hats off for that. Because when my muse came about, I was like, "ये तो नहीं चलेगा. ये तो इनका brand only won't get out of the gate." That was my
Hmm.
personal belief, and I'm happy to
Hmm.
be proven wrong. Ki, like
Hmm.
clearly that's not stopping
Okay.
them.
But it's also interesting to see how like people are buying these kind of products on Blinkit as well. So I was talking to a
Where
sex
else?
toy company, and the founder was telling me post 8 p.m. the sales on quick commerce are like through the roof.
Hmm.
Like दिन में e-commerce साइट पे चलता है, रात को quick commerce पे चलता है.
That's how. That's it.
Planned
This is like
planned orgasm
E-commerce,
and unplanned orgasm.
e-commerce in the streets, quick commerce in the
streets. Yeah.
sheets.
This is a I think the most interesting case study in how trigger based buying, right? Like sort of what is like just the intensity of the pain,
Blinkit delivers an orgasm faster than a
man.
man.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
cool. Any thoughts on Gensol? DLF Camellia,
Come.
Camalia,
Kamla.
Kamala,
Yeah, I think
Camel, Camellia
come
Pasant.
blue.
Jaggi
I
jaise
didn't.
koi nahi.
I didn't. I knew that these Blue Smart, like the founders were doing bunch of other companies or whatnot, back of my mind, and I knew Twitter was yapping about Gensol for the last 1 year, hyping Gensol, in fact, but I couldn't
Yeah,
add the two together. Now it became clear as day, and I mean, it's just crazy, dude. It's just crazy what can get pulled off. Like it's daylight robbery, in some funky
yeah.
sense. Sad to
I,
sad to see like a lot of random angel syndicate and type of platforms getting
yeah.
ullufied in this whole scene. But yeah, it's just crazy that you can still pull this off and get away with it. I made that
I
I
wonder.
made that tweet, right? Sorry, I didn't know that golf whatever golf kits could be like what 26 lakhs. That was the most
Yeah,
stunning thing out of all of this for me. Itna, like itna.
Yeah, I'm sure that's like a dozen or like at least 5, 6 sets. Like you can't buy a single set worth
why
that
not?
much.
It could be like a branded one, like a
No, it is a
nicely.
brand. Like even the top of the line is not that
अरे
expensive.
मे बी वो भी अपना कुछ एलएलपी निकाल के बैठा होगा वो थर्ड
Yeah.
थर्ड ऑर्डर लॉन्ड्रिंग
Oh my god.
Third order laundry. But yeah, I wonder why none of the major VCs, like, what did they see? How did they know this is
I
not
mean,
working
I
out?
think like at least my assumption is from the start, like Blue Smart was raising a shit ton of money. Like
Hmm.
their angel round was $3 million.
Back in 2018. That's
Yeah.
today. It's an angel round.
Huh. And nahi, abhi bhi 3 million is a proper seed. You bring in a proper institution to do three
Correct.
million
I mean,
dollars.
2018 में three would be a series A is what I'm trying
yeah.
to
Yeah,
know.
acha, theek hai, haan. And I mean, post that, like the fact that the founders are a director in another company is red flag enough to
Yeah.
not take that forward. Like, I don't think any one of them have or would seriously look at that
It's too much
company.
of a clash of whatever any
Yeah.
kind of conflict of interest, especially if it is a public company and you're like, bro, what's going on? Public investors should have ideally questioned कि ये
Yeah.
क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, right?
But I
Yeah.
think there'll be public, like Gensol went public through the SME IPO, and then they got updated to the main board. And I mean, I don't know what kind of investors Gensol had. Like their shareholders went from like 150 people to like 150,000 people over like 3 years because of all the
Tw- tw-
Yeah.
Twitter hype
it
boys.
works, no, it
Yeah.
works. Like The hype.
The funniest thing that happened of all this was Ashneer being dragged through the mud
Yes.
for no reason.
Dude, I tweeted about that and it went viral, and then I think Asheen like got upset and he had to put
Yeah, he
out a
tweeted back, no?
defending statement that, hey, I am the biggest victim here, or not, I am a victim here.
Yeah, yeah.
Bula,
I think the
he's
biggest.
gonna call you one day, Anmol. He's gonna
Acha.
call you in one day.
Uh, you received a call sometime, huh,
No,
Raj?
no, I'm saying Anmol ko aega.
Uh,
अरे वो तो
yeah.
पड़ोसी है, वहीं पे रहते हैं दिल्ली में.
तो घर आ जाएंगे. सही
Uh,
है. Thank you so much, Raj, for taking out time. Sharing whatever thoughts we had around all of this AI and Gensol and whatnot.
Don't
Would
don't
love
forget
to
bottles.
what
bottles.
else? Yeah, I think it's contrarian enough that it might just work.
Is it? I mean I think it's like just it's out there to be captured. Like अब सभी वही categories are getting branded.
Ah,
Now one nepo baby is gonna watch the pod and go build this, and Piyush
I
Goyal's gonna be very upset about that.
I'll be very happy if a nepo baby watches the pod.
We have so many nepo babies who watch the pod.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Raj. Hopefully, we'll get you back one more day. Do you have anything to promote? Anything you're working on?
Nothing right now to promote in public.
Uh,
जब है
but you
तब
are working on something then.
I hope so, right? Like at least
You
my
hope
wife
so.
hopes so.
Uh, Bro, same. My wife is like, I go work from 8:30 to 11. What are you doing the whole day? I'm like, podcast record कर रहा
Saturday को recording, Monday को editing.
हूँ. Yeah. Cool,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so much
See you,
for taking
folks.
out the time.
See you, Anmol. मिलते हैं on the timeline. Right?
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Bye.